In the 5th year of my marriage to Julian, he fell for Derek's little. Can you stop being so paranoid? I only think of her as little, we're completely innocent. She's so young and sick. I'm just taking care of her. Traveling alone isn't safe for her. I'm only going along out of responsibility. You're overthinking. Can't you pick on someone your own size? I stared at the stranger my husband had become and nodded, saying, okay. He liked my patience, while I drew the final cross on the calendar. The 30-day cooling-off period was over. On Julian's birthday, I handed him a divorce certificate. It was past 11 at night when I reached Riverdale. I stood under the bleached hallway lights. Through the glass wall ahead, I could see the infusion area. My husband, who'd claimed he was playing cards with clients, had his arm around a slim young woman, and 4 needle was taped to her hand. She leaned against him, pouting and talking in a sickly voice. Julian's face was all tenderness and patience. I kept looking. I'd seen the girl plenty of times, Derek's cousin, 7 years younger than us. Youthful, vibrant, pretty in that careless way a woman ground down by 5 years of marriage could never match. No wonder Julian had grown short with me, his patience had been given elsewhere. I don't know how long I stood there before I walked into the infusion area. Julian spotted me, his expression flipping. He muttered something to Chloe and strode over. He seized my wrist and dragged me around the corner, out of sight. What are you doing here? I didn't tell him Chloe had been texting me screenshots of their chats and cozy selfies for a month, flaunting them to the lawful. I asked, aren't you playing cards with clients? Guilt flicked across his face, then hardened into righteousness. Chloe got sick suddenly. Derek couldn't leave work, so he asked me to keep little company for a drip. Don't start again. I'm exhausted and not in the mood for a fight. Besides, this is Riverdale, making a scene is embarrassing. You may not care, but I have a reputation. He and I had already screamed at each other over Chloe several times, ugly, loud scenes. So he did no shame. I looked up. Aren't you going to ask why I'm here? He blinked, suddenly remembering. Are you sick? I smiled as if I were joking. What else? Did you think I came to catch you cheating? His face cycled through every color. He darkened. Summer, here we go again. How many times must I say it? Chloe and I are innocent. I'm responsible for her, that's all. I kept my voice level. I haven't said a thing this time. That only made him angrier. Don't play coy. What's happened to you? You used to be obedient and sweet. Look at yourself now, snide and nasty, exactly like a nagging. My fingers curled. No matter how ready I thought I was, his words still stabbed. Obedient and sweet, funny he should mention it. He used to swear he loved me, cherished me, that I was his one and only. Now, that's enough. Just go home, he ordered, already glancing back at Chloe, afraid I'd explode and upset her. We'll talk later. I don't want to be humiliated here. I nodded. All right. Come home early, I do have something to tell you. He stared, stunned by how easily I folded. I turned and left Riverdale. Back home, I sat at the dining table in a daze. 5 years married to Julian. Once, marrying him had been my greatest dream. I saw him as my savior, my everything. When I first realized he was cheating, my instant reaction wasn't anger, it was terror. Terror he would leave me. My father died young. My mother remarried Frank, a drunk who beat me for the slightest whim. When I hit puberty, the fists turned into groping. Too young and too scared, I never fought back. Julian pulled me out of that hell. He cared for me, loved me, gave me a home. For almost 10 years, I clung to him. I never thought our story would end so cheap, so ugly. At 2 a.m., Julian finally walked in. Still awake, he asked, guilty and irritable. Planning another fight? I smiled. One document, need your signature urgently. What now? His phone rang, he glanced down and looked both anxious and guilty. I knew it had to be Chloe. The contract to sell our place, didn't we say we'd upgrade? I lied, testing whether our home still mattered to him. Will you sign now? I slid the divorce papers across the table, my fingers tense. Julian didn't even scan it, he flipped to the last page and signed with a flourish. A laugh slipped out of me. He frowned. What's funny? I'm laughing at myself. I looked at the man I'd loved for 10 years. Thank you, Julian. Thank you for those 10 years you looked after me, and for making it so easy to let go. Julian didn't come home that night. Next morning, I went to Sterling to resign. After the divorce, I'll move to the lakeside cottage where Grandma lived. She's gone, but the old house is still there. I can fix it up. Handover will take a week or two, so I still have to show up. After work, I stopped by Attorney Morgan's office to talk through the split. Julian and I will divide everything in half. I'll take what's mine. It was dusk when I got back. As soon as I opened the door, Julian scowled. You've been off forever, why so late? I said offhandedly, just wandered around outside. Julian didn't care what I did every day, he only said, then hurry up and make dinner. I'm starving. My expression stayed calm, and I told him gently, I already ate out. Order takeout. You ate without me? With who? Why didn't you tell me ahead of time? I waited at home for you. Julian rattled off a string of complaints. It's rare for me to eat at home, and you want me to eat takeout? To keep an unnecessary fight from starting, I gave in. If you're really that hungry, I can boil some noodles for you. At last Julian looked satisfied. He leaned against the doorframe, voice unusually soft, chatting the way he used to back when we were happy. I've been buried at work lately and kind of neglected you. Our anniversary's in a few days. Didn't you keep saying you wanted a beach getaway? I'll take some leave and we'll have a proper few days. And my birthday's coming, what are you getting me this year? Watching the water come to a boil, I zoned out. Julian's birthday is 2 weeks after our anniversary. Every year I used to plan something elaborate, racking my brain for the perfect gift. This year, I'll hand him a divorce decree. The thought made me smile. I'll give you a huge surprise, one you'd never guess. Julian didn't pick up on the irony, he only felt hopeful, convinced I was being extra docile tonight. He slipped his arms around my waist from behind, chin resting on my shoulder, breath hot against my skin. Summer, babe, we haven't in ages. I've got my period. One sentence doused every spark. Displeased, Julian muttered, again? Every time I touch you there's some excuse. Such a downer. Ever since I'd learned about him and Chloe, I'd refused to let him near me, scared of catching something. Except once, when I came home drunk from a team dinner. Too much stress, I said, inventing an explanation. My cycle's been off. Julian was still dissatisfied, face dark as he stalked out of the kitchen. When I set the bowl of noodles in front of him, he didn't even look up. We might as well sleep in separate rooms if you keep pushing me away. Exactly what I wanted. Dylan, I said, if that's how you feel, let's do it. Julian glared, face blacker than the bottom of the pot, fury mixed with resentment. Nice going, Summer. He slammed his chopsticks down and stormed out, the door shaking in its frame. Quietly, I scraped his half-eaten noodles into the trash, put on a sheet mask, and started packing what I'd need for the spare room. My phone buzzed. A message from Chloe. Through the hotel bathroom's frosted glass she'd snapped a photo of Julian in the shower. Chloe, Julian's shower time. I gripped the phone so hard my knuckles went white. After several seconds I managed to screenshot everything and forward it to Attorney Morgan. More evidence. Once Julian decreed separate bedrooms, he left on a 10-day business trip. He didn't freeze me out. Once in a while he'd still text to list his itinerary. He didn't know Chloe sent me photos and clips every single day, flaunting their sweet little work vacation. Those messages sometimes threw me into a trance. Julian used to dote on me like that too. So he really had loved me once. And now he really loves someone else. One text from Chloe read, he told me today he'd give me anything I want. He even wants me to have his baby. Summer, you've been married so long, why no kids? Can't you? What a waste of all those years. A dull pain throbbed under my ribs. From the day we wed I'd dreamed of a house full of children, of making our family complete. But I'd never conceived. Maybe those beatings from Frank had done damage, maybe it was fate, I didn't know. Another buzz, if I get pregnant, will you step aside? I moved my thumb slowly and typed, then good luck. I wish you two every happiness. I put the phone down and began boxing things up, calling the realtor about listing the house. The 10 days Julian was gone I spent sorting. I divided our life into 3 piles, Julian's, mine, garbage. The day Julian came back I was hauling out the final trash bag. He frowned. You're throwing away the plushies I won for you? When we dated we'd hit every claw machine in town, dozens of stuffed toys used to crowd the apartment. I smiled. Jordan, no space. He scowled. Still, you shouldn't. Chloe? I cut in, looking past him. Here for Julian? Julian's face snapped around, angry now. What are you doing here? Chloe burst into tears, her young face pale and pitiful. There's a creep hanging around my building. Last night he kept pounding on my door, today he peeked through my window. I'm terrified. She clutched Julian's arm, sobbing. Please, can I stay here a few days? Please. Instinctively Julian drew her close, then shot me a wary glance. Summer, would you? I gave a bright smile. We're in the middle of packing, sheets are all in boxes. The new place is ready, though, you two can stay there. Chloe's tears doubled. Julian, what do I do? Before Julian could speak I added, take the keys, I've got movers finishing up today. He stared, suddenly silent. I went downstairs and tossed the trash. When I returned Chloe was gone. Julian stood alone in the empty living room, frowning. You're really letting her move into our new house? I sure am. Problem? His eyes bored into me. You're acting weird. What are you plotting? I kept smiling. 2 weeks till your birthday, just getting your surprise ready. His expression softened a little. Book the vacation days, Jamie, our anniversary, he reminded me. I'm taking you to the beach. That evening Chloe sent me after-sex photos of her and Julian on the brand new bed in the brand new house. She added, Summer, the mattress you picked is so soft. Julian says it's way more comfortable than your old one. I bet tidying the place was exhausting. Julian's been with me the whole time, so he couldn't lend a hand. But I guess that's your job now. Household drudgery is all an old nag is good for. I didn't reply. I hadn't lifted a finger in that house. I'd hired people and paid them with Julian's credit card. I'd never planned to move in, so they could romp to their heart's content, urinate on the floor for all I cared. Just then my realtor texted, the buyer had accepted my lump sum demand, we would sign tomorrow and the money would hit my account the day after. I had to be out by then. I answered, got it. I'd mapped it all out long ago. After the divorce the old house would be mine to sell, the new house and its mortgage would be Julian's. The joint savings we'd split down the middle. The sale went smoothly. That night I checked into a hotel and messaged Julian to tell him the place was sold and he shouldn't go back to the old address. He was annoyed I'd finished the whole process without informing him. I told him it was part of his birthday surprise. His curiosity perked up. What kind of surprise? Expensive? I thought, it'll cost you half of everything you own, so, yes, pricey. Very expensive. On our anniversary I still packed a suitcase. I had truly loved Julian, a seaside trip with him had been the daydream I'd carried since girlhood, so this journey would be the perfect period at the end of that sentence. After it, he would no longer own a single thread of my obsession. When departure time came I called to ask when he'd arrive. He rejected the call. A text followed, sorry, Summer, last-minute overtime meeting. Let's push the trip to my birthday, okay? Reading that, I burst out laughing. I must have been out of my mind to think Julian and I could still share a farewell vacation. Seconds later Chloe's message popped up, a photo of her and Julian strolling hand in hand along the shore. The beach is gorgeous, Summer. Too bad you're missing it. 2 more weeks and the divorce cooling-off period would end. I told myself, just endure 14 days. I hadn't eaten, so I ordered takeout and started a web drama. 15 minutes later someone knocked. Surprised at the speed, I opened the door. The man outside could yank me straight back into hell, my stepfather. He'd made parole. I tried to slam the door but he buled through, grabbed my hair, and threw me to the floor, fists and feet following instantly. I couldn't react, he'd always been stronger. Between blows he called me the bitch who'd locked him up. Nightmare swallowed me. I was a helpless kid again. On instinct I clawed for my phone and hit speed dial. I called Julian, clinging to the fantasy that he'd swoop in and drag me out of this inferno once more. My stepfather's palm cracked across my face. I hit the carpet, phone still clenched, whispering, Julian, please pick up. He sneered, twisting my hair to haul me onto the bed. Your husband's busy with his side piece right now, he hissed, fingers closing on my throat. He won't rescue you, Summer. Understanding flashed. Chloe told you where I was? Another ugly laugh. Yep. Your dear husband and your side piece both helped. Time to settle the score for the years you cost me. His hand rose again. As it descended I caught the screen lighting up. Julian had ended my call. Right, he hadn't been my savior in a long time. Mid-trip Julian had texted and called Summer, got no answer, and wasn't shocked. Standing her up on their anniversary had earned her silence. But the later getaway with Chloe felt off, a nameless unease dogged him. Whenever he had a free moment he tried her again, only to hear her phone powered off. The bad feeling grew until, ignoring Chloe's pout, he cut the beach holiday short. At the airport he bought a peace-offering gift. Chloe linked her arm through his, sulking. Julian, you will divorce her, right? Julian looked uncomfortable. Why ask that now? Chloe tested the water. My period's late. I might be pregnant. Julian's face strained. Are you serious? She frowned. You said you want kids, that Summer can't give them, that you're sorry about it. I'm offering, shouldn't you be happy? Julian rubbed his temples. It's complicated. I'll take you to Riverdale for a test in a couple of days. Chloe yanked her arm away and stalked off. Julian hurried to placate her. The delay meant he didn't reach Summer's hotel until the next day. Planning to bring her home, he asked the front desk, Summer checked out? When, the clerk replied, wary. And you are? I'm her husband. The clerk's lip curled. Husband? Funny, you didn't know her stepfather broke in and almost killed her? Staff and guests still buzzed about it. If she hadn't broken free and run straight into a passing guest, she might not be alive. Julian's stomach dropped. He remembered one call he'd let Dylan decline while he fooled around with Chloe. After that she had vanished. His face went chalk white. He had hung up on Summer's plea for rescue. Once he'd pulled her out of hell, and now, with a single swipe of his thumb, he had shoved her back in. Summer must hate him to the bone. Maybe she'd even file for divorce. Julian's vision tunneled to black. He dropped to his knees. It's over. Cameron, Summer must hate me to the bone. He asked everywhere, finally learned which hospital she was in, but when he raced there the bed was already empty. As if on purpose, Summer had checked out that very morning. Julian knew he'd screwed up badly. He sprinted back to their brand new house, nobody home. He looked closer. Not a single object in this pristine, echoing place belonged to Summer. How could that be? Refusing to believe it, he yanked open every drawer and cupboard, hunting for one personal trace of her. Nothing. Nothing of Summer's, nothing that said us. The new house was spotless, as though Summer had never set foot inside. Calls went straight to voicemail, so Julian drove to Sterling. Only then did he discover Summer had handed in her resignation half a month ago. Her exit paperwork was finished a week earlier. Julian drifted along the crowded sidewalks, hollow and aching. It hit him, he had lost his Summer. On Julian's birthday I powered my phone on. Almost instantly it rang, Julian. I hesitated, then answered. Summer, where are you? He demanded, panicked. I'll come right now. Hang up first, I said. I'll drop you the location. Summer. I ended the call, sent him the address of City Hall, then watched the screen. Jamie, he phoned again. I let every call ring out. My phone kept vibrating because Chloe wouldn't stop texting. I told myself not to look, but my eyes were quicker. A phrase flashed through. I'm pregnant. It's Julian's baby. The words snagged my gaze for half a second before I looked away, but my chest kept flooding with a suffocating weight. After Frank was arrested I filed against Chloe too. She'd tipped him off, made herself an accessory. Frank protected her, claimed she hadn't meant it, they weren't partners. So Chloe walked free. Summer, heard your stepdad jumped you, lucky you're okay, huh? We're both lucky, you walked away, and I got this little plus sign. I squeezed my eyes shut, swallowed the anger, screenshot every message, and sent the whole stack to Julian. He replied instantly, Summer, please let me explain. Chloe was an accident, just a stupid fling. I never wanted a divorce. All these years, you're the only one I've ever loved. I didn't bother reading. After the last image went through, I deleted him. When I reached City Hall, Julian was already there. Half a month had carved a full circle of weight off him. His eyes were bloodshot, sockets sunken. He strode toward me. Summer. I stepped around him, voice calm. Let's get in line and file. Julian lowered his tone, almost pleading. Can we just go home first? Let me talk, don't rush to divorce. I kept walking. He followed on my heels, still thinking we had a 30-day cooling off and no real danger. Not until we stood at the counter did the color drain from his face. Summer, you took a wrong turn. Let's go home, okay? I slid the papers toward him. We finished the 30-day wait weeks ago. I'm here to end it. Impossible, he muttered. I never signed. He snatched the file, flipped to the last page, his own signature stared back. Memory slammed in, the night he'd scrawled it without reading. I smiled slowly. Happy birthday, Julian. Like your gift? Julian went white. You planned this that far back? Looking now, the signs had been neon, no more screaming about Chloe, sudden generosity, even handing over the new house. Give me one more chance, he begged, grabbing my hand. I'll fix everything. I met his eyes, steady. I don't love you anymore, Julian. The last shard of feeling shattered while you were on vacation with Chloe and I was fighting off your stepdad. I'm grateful you were part of my life. We loved each other. Let's leave it clean. He trembled. I still love you. One more shot, please? Dylan, I asked. She's pregnant. If you stay married, what about her, about the baby? Julian lapsed into guilty silence. Watching him want both dishes on one plate, I almost laughed. He doesn't ache for me, just misses his perfect housekeeper. And seeing him grovel, he doesn't love Chloe either. None of it matters now. Sign, Julian. This time he didn't beg. When the clerk stamped our papers, he whispered, I'm sorry, Summer. I'll always carry you in my heart. I was about to tell him how pathetic that sounded when Chloe burst through the doors. Julian, what the hell, she shrieked. You promised me a future. I slipped the certificate into my purse and walked away while their shouting started behind me. Summer, Julian, if you chase after her, I'll Jamie go and terminate this pregnancy. I flagged down a cab and left without looking back. Halfway across town my phone chimed with a text from Julian. Summer, nobody can replace the bond we've built in almost 10 years. Please wait for me, just until Chloe has the baby. I didn't bother finishing it. I deleted the message and blocked him on the spot. I'd meant to head straight to the bus station, but nausea slammed into me and I started throwing up nonstop. The driver pulled over. Sitting on the curb, I hugged a trash can until the spasms finally stopped. Sorry, Ma, I said, wiping my mouth. I messed up your car. I'll pay for the cleaning. My driver was a breezy, sharp-eyed woman in her 40s. Little, you sure you aren't pregnant? I took another cab straight to Riverdale and registered for an emergency blood test. Home pregnancy kits lie, HCG numbers don't. While I queued, my hand drifted to my belly again and again. I'd always longed for a child, someone who would tie me to this world now that I had no parents, no anchor. But not now, and never with a man like Julian. The minutes crawled. My head spun with worst-case slides. A doctor once warned that my uterine lining was paper-thin. If I conceived and aborted, I might never get another chance. What if? I started to regret ever showing up at that group dinner. If I hadn't gone, none of this would have happened. Then a familiar voice cut through my thoughts. Summer, what are you doing here? Julian lifted his gaze to the OBGYN sign above the desk, and surprise flipped to wild joy. You're pregnant. Admit it, Summer, we're having a baby. I'm not, I shot back. He didn't believe me. In his mind I was already carrying his child and hiding it to force a divorce. We'll remarry, he declared, drunk on triumph, ignoring Chloe's stricken face. I'll Jamie go straight to City Hall and we'll file again. I swear, only you from now on. I hardened my voice. Julian, I'm not pregnant. And even if I were, I wouldn't keep it. Since I'd chosen to walk away, I would leave no thread behind. I wanted him gone, utterly, absolutely. Don't be rash, Summer. Think of the innocent baby, he begged, orbiting me with outstretched hands. I'll Jamie cut Chloe off. Tell me what you want, anything. Chloe's scream cracked across the lobby. And what about the child inside me, Julian? That's your flesh too. 2 weeks of guilt had already chewed him raw. Her cry snapped the last tether. I told you to take the pill every single time. You skipped it, this is on you. Chloe stared, wide-eyed. You said you wanted kids. You promised if it happened we'd keep it, you'd raise it. Julian's patience collapsed. That was before. Summer couldn't get pregnant. Now that she can, what are you worth? The color drained from Chloe's face, her eyes knifed into him. And the divorce, you swore she'd never know. You added her on WhatsApp, sent her those pictures, forced her to leave me. All lies. You cheap, shameless bitch, he hissed, you disgust me. I'll kill you. Chloe lunged, nails flashing. They crashed together, clawing and swearing. I slipped away in the chaos, took a rideshare to the airport, and bought the next outbound flight. I'd already leased a new apartment in another city, scheduled checkups there, and registered under a different spelling of my name. Fortune was on my side. The blood test came back negative. That afternoon in the cab had been plain motion sickness after all. I exhaled for the first time in days and started building an ordinary life. Only the property split forced me to speak with Julian, through Attorney Morgan. Attorney Morgan told me he still refused to believe I wasn't pregnant and had hired investigators to track me down. He had also made Chloe terminate. When she obeyed, Derek branded him a monster and quit, costing Julian his 7-figure job. Pity, I answered, about the baby, and only the baby. When Attorney Morgan tried to relay more sordid updates, I cut the call short. I didn't care if Julian lived or died. A year later I boarded a plane and nearly collided with him in the departures hall. He was unrecognizable, cheeks sunken, stubble ragged, hair unwashed, more vagrant than VP. Chloe was still beside him, loud in a flowing boho print, but her skin looked sallow, her once sparkling eyes now flat, the swagger of a girl gone, replaced by the weariness of a nagging. They screamed at each other, indifferent to the crowd gathering around them. Honeymoon, my ass. This is just another excuse to chase your ex-wife. She mailed you the lab report. Why can't you admit she was never pregnant? Your only child died with me on that table. Remember that, Julian, you killed it. You owe me forever. Even if you find her, I'll haunt you. Me and our dead baby, will be vengeful you can't exorcise. What are you looking at? A warm male voice asked. I turned to the man beside me and smiled. My ex-husband and his newly promoted side piece. Ah, he chuckled. From where I'm standing, I'm definitely the better looking, and richer, option. Stop teasing, Holden. I'm a committed single these days. Holden, my boss now, once the boy who carried my books in senior year, grinned. No rush. I've got time to wait. I didn't answer. Together we walked through the sun-flooded jet bridge toward whatever came next. Thank you for listening to today's story. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate it? If you enjoyed the video, give us a thumbs up and share it with friends. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments, so don't forget to subscribe for more gripping tales. See you next time.